Wingspan is the video game adaptation of the board game of the same name. The goal of the game is to win by having the most points after a few rounds of play. The main way of gaining points is by playing bird cards that add to your score. You can also gain points through various abilities on bird cards or special cards that grant you additional points if certain conditions are met. Wingspan is a solid, card-based game that, through its combination of chill gameplay, art, and music, lulls you into the sense that you are in the woods watching the birds fly by. I preface this review by saying that I've never played the physical board game, so I can't compare the video game to the original. I won't be able to know any changes that may have been made with the change in mediums. Also, as far as I can tell, the Wingspan video game doesn't have the two expansions, the European expansion and the Oceania expansion, that have come out for the board game. If you want to enjoy at least the European expansion in a digital medium, it looks like Wingspan is one of the games supported by Tabletopia, a virtual table program. But if you play it through Tabletopia, you'll get more of an emulation of the tabletop experience instead of the more crafted experience the Wingspan video game provides. Once you get the game up, you have the option of going through a tutorial. I'd highly recommend going through it. Wingspan has a lot of little moving parts that can make it frustrating if you aren't familiar with the game and try to brute force your way through learning it. Besides just being good advice to help learn the game, the tutorial is probably one of the better ones I've played through in a game. It gently guides you through the steps of each round of the game, explaining each of the concepts thoroughly but succinctly. It never over-explains anything and gives you enough to start enjoying the game proper once you've finished the tutorial. The strongest aspect of Wingspan is the art style. It puts a lot of effort into evoking the birdwatching aesthetic. The various backgrounds on which you play your cards are these beautiful watercolor backdrops depicting different natural landscapes, and this artistic trend is continued by representing various other parts of the UI in this sketchbook style. The artistic star of Wingspan, though, is the bird cards themselves. They are just like the bird images you would find in a good old-fashioned birdwatching book. What makes them even more marvelous here is the birds are animated, jumping to life once played. To go along with this fantastic art is some wonderfully simplistic music, as you play chill instrumentals play in the background, overlaid with the gentle sounds of birds chirping.
Common yellowthroat. This was one of the first American birds to be cataloged by Linnaeus in 1766.
Like I said before, Wingspan has a lot of moving parts when it comes to its gameplay. None of it is overly complicated, but with enough variability to keep you engaged with the strategy elements of the game. The game is separated into rounds that are then further divided into turns. With each turn, you can perform a variety of actions like rolling for resources, playing cards, placing eggs, or drawing new cards. The main challenge of the game is coming up with a strategy to best balance these actions and a way to get the most points by the time the game ends. While the default game mode is playing to generate the most points in general, there is an alternate game mode you can select that places more focus on accumulating points through goals instead of playing bird cards. This adds another level of strategy since you have to rely less on playing the most birds or highest value birds. The game also comes with multiplayer options. Wingspan does have local co-op, so you and your friends can gather around in the living room and play. It also has a couple of other multiplayer modes that let you play with others online. There's the standard multiplayer, where each player is given 5 minutes per turn, and then it also has an asynchronous mode, where players have 24 hours to take their turns. There's a certain meditative quality to playing a game of Wingspan, like playing a quiet game of chess with an old friend in the park. The game isn't so simple that you are just zoning out, but the strategy isn't so demanding that you can't take your time and enjoy the atmosphere of the game. You can tell heart went into crafting the experience of Wingspan, so if you're looking for a more relaxing strategy game, Wingspan is a solid choice that combines its strong gameplay core with a lovely birdwatching aesthetic, a game that will bring you gentle joy for many, many relaxing afternoons.